What was your first major placement as a producer? You know, do you remember that? You know, what do you remember about that?
My first major placement. Well, the first one was before I got to Bad Boy. It was the Born Americans.
Okay.
Don't you remember them? But I had met them here in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a lot of production for different Howard students and just, you know, different people in the area. And they came through my basement at the time. And I actually helped them get a deal with Delicious Vinyl.
Okay.
And that was my first placement. It was a song called Boom Shaka Tot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
And my first placement with Bad Boy, I was only contracted to do a song and a half for Mary.
Oh, wow.
You know, and that was just a song and an interlude. And I want to be with you was the song.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just, I guess, the producers that were part of the first album came back with these ridiculous prices, and you know, and there was a situation where I just basically was asked if I want to do, you know, work with her. And I was like, hell yeah.
Interesting.
It was an opportunity that I took it crazy, you know,
Mm-hmm.
took it serious, yeah.
Wow. So this is the My Life album we're speaking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, tell me, like, you know, when you mentioned you were only contracted to do a song and a half, but when you were then asked to do, you know, contribute a lot more, which you ended up doing, you know, what was your kind of take on, like, what were you looking to accomplish with that album? You know, what direction were you looking to go in with the sound?
I'm gonna be real. I put it to you like this, just to take the pressure off. I don't really have big. I got small goals. So my goal with that album was basically for everybody to feel like it was an okay album.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want it to, you know, because of space being opened up that far for me that early.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that I didn't put so much pressure on me that it wasn't relative to where she was in her career, and it was something that could take her to the next level.
Yeah.
Like, I was offended by a lot of the comments that were made about her with the first album.
Okay.
Because that's what drew me to Puff. I had two contracts. There was a contract from Hiram Hicks, and there was a contract from Puff.
Mm-hmm.
And Hiram could deliver me TLC, but he couldn't deliver me Mary.
Yeah.
And that was my calling, was that Mary J. Blige 411 album. Like, the production I was working on, I pretty much had a lot of the production for the My Life album done when I met Puff.
Mm-hmm.
So these were ideas that I was just kind of creating and coming up with. So
Yeah.
as the opportunity presented itself, then I would play more songs just to see if they liked them.
Yeah.
And I developed a relationship with Mary as well. So it was one of those things where he could deliver me Mary. I felt like that was where my production and my talents were leading me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, I'm gonna be real, just God was in the room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was just one of those situations where, you know, they talk about luck. You know, opportunity meets preparation, and that's exactly what it was for me to be able to first off work with Mary, and then for her to be the type of artist that she was, and for Puff at that time to be where he was in his career. So it was almost like it was just three entities kind of rising up at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And we all understood each other.
Yeah.
The more that I worked with Mary, the more I realized that she was like my sister almost. You know, she was one of the people in her family that had a lot of talent. You know, I was one of the people that had crazy talent in my family. So we connected on that level.
Yeah.
And basically with me, like I said, I was offended by a lot of the comments that were being made about her. I wanted to change that. I wanted people to understand that she was, and you know, is one of the greatest talents out here. She may be young and she may be from the hood and all of that, but don't get it twisted with her talent. Don't get it twisted with how far she can go.
Yeah.
And I guess with that My Life album, I just wanted to, get that point across that she could really sing, and it's not you know, how she's dressed or anything like that. Like, that's just one part of marketing for her, but it has nothing to do with her talent.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the goal I had set. I just wanted people to feel it was an okay album, and I wanted people to walk away understanding that she was more than just this rapper / girl singing, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the album is now considered a classic. Many consider it her best album, so, I mean, it's definitely more than just an okay album. It came out really special, and you had a big part in that.
The thing is, like, 3 million people at that time just, I guess, felt it was okay.
Yeah. Nice.
But, I mean, trust me, I wasn't really thinking about the biggest record in the world. And, you know, I just wanted it to be a record that people would respect coming from her for her next, you know, her next look. So,
yeah.
I guess I did it.
Do you have a favorite song you produced for Mary over the years?
A favorite song for her, it would be My Life. To be real,
okay.
That's one of my favorite records for her.
Yeah.
Because I was actually experimenting.
Yeah.
It was a situation where I was already working on that record, and you know, when I first signed with Puff, we were working out of his house in Scarsdale.
Yeah.
And like I said, I would just introduce things, you know, as time went on, I would just play certain things. So he was in the house, I was there, there was a couple other people, I think a couple other people were there, and I just played it, you know, and then he was like, yo, I was just thinking about that song. I'm like, and then see, my thing is, me coming from DC, I'm coming from a go-go thing, like Rare Essence, Chuck Brown, that's my background. Mm-hmm. Live music, you know, and at the time, you know, I was heavy into, you know, what was happening with Rare Essence. Like, I used to be at all of those go-go's back in my era when I'm from high school and this and that. But anyway, so when I did the Roy Ayers record, I was actually acting like I was Rare Essence.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things, I was on my own page with it. Mm-hmm. And then I was just, like I said, I was experimenting, and I played it for Puff, and he loved it. Then he said, yo, I'm going to play it for Mary, and she loved it. She was like, yo, I didn't think about that record. But it was one of those things where it just came together. I didn't know, you know, we just left her alone with the lyrics, and I didn't know she was going to write something like that.
Yeah.
Like that just, it blew our minds the next day when we listened to it, because it was just like, she's on a whole nother page right now.
Yeah.
But
wow.
That's what was needed at the time. Just, you know, but that's how that record came to life, though. It was just one of those experiments that actually worked.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you now about another album you had a huge impact on making a success, and that was Faith Evans' debut album. You know, talk about working on that album.
Okay, Faith. Man, when I first met her, she was working with Usher. Like, she was doing a lot of vocal production. And, you know, I just heard her, they were calling her Faith. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to what was happening with Usher, and I was like, yo, the background is crazy, man. Who is helping him with that? Yeah. And they were like, Faith, but she works with Al B. Sure.
Yeah.
So then I did a record for Usher called Think of You.
Yep.
And she came in, and she wrote, Donnell Jones wrote, and I mean, from one day with me I actually made that record before I met Puff as well.
Oh, okay.
So when I sent it up there, I had no idea what was going to happen to it. He just had writer sessions or whatever, and next thing I know, they pressed play.